Hey guys, hope everyone out there is doing well. I am back to my tradition of drinking a cup of coffee while doing one of these videos. But today I wanted to share a couple of stories that what kind of inspired this particular vlog is I was looking over at something that Rike wrote. I'm sure a lot of you follow his videos and stuff too, about the dangers of starting, or not the dangers, the potential shortfalls or the potential issues that come up with starting a business in the Philippines. And I thought he was very fair in the article he wrote about it, just saying that it can be done, but you have to be super careful and know exactly what you're doing. Otherwise, there are a lot of issues at play that can ruin your business and you end up losing a lot of money. And I'm sure a lot of you who maybe have lived in the Philippines are familiar with the stories that happen. But I wanted to share two stories about some of the legal stuff that can happen in the Philippines. And you could argue that this could happen anywhere, and maybe it could, but these are just a couple of examples that I remember finding strange. And there are two. One is, I think I've mentioned before, probably on a video long ago, that I moved into an apartment that I ended up leaving that apartment because they wanted me to sign just a ridiculous lease after my first year. I mean, it would have been just financial suicide for me to sign this lease they wanted me to sign. Well, there's a backstory behind that. There's a backstory behind what was going on. So when I was in Manila, I had a broker who helped me find an apartment at a particular location. And then at another tower within that same location, an opening came up. I was renting an apartment. The owner of that unit or condo, whatever you want to call it, was coming back and gave me notice that I had to leave. So I talked to my broker. She said, oh, there's the opening in this other tower. And so, okay, I moved in that other tower and moved in an apartment. There was a guy moving out of it. And then what I learned later, as time went on, I had a friend from Turkey who we met and became friends. He lived one or two floors up. Explained to me that in that particular unit, or that particular tower, it had changed hands legally like every 2 or 3 years. In other words, there were two parties that kept fighting for ownership of that tower. One of the parties and one of the managements that controlled the tower was very friendly towards the residents there. In other words, they were good to live under, so to speak. But the one that when I had moved in, it was the bad management that had taken over the building, and that's why they were being so unreasonable with me. And I do remember while I was there, it just seemed like that apartment, that tower just started going downhill to a certain extent in terms of the quality. It seemed like the apartments above me, they were gearing them more towards students, so they were putting in walls, and I don't know, just the type of renters started changing over that year. And I remember other residents were having difficulties with the management over various things. And so think about that. Every 2 or 3 years, there was a legal seesaw in which the ownership kept going back and forth between these two parties. And apparently it had been going on for some time. So you can see where that would be a huge pitfall for business, because maybe you rent a space or something, or you buy this business, and then later on another party comes back and sues you that you don't even know about, that or for the space or something, and you could just see that there's a lot of legal pitfalls. Well, this not only happened once. You may be thinking, well, Kevin, this is some big corporate thing. It probably doesn't happen on the lower level, but apparently it does. because I don't remember what year this was, if it happened before or after the apartment issue, but I was also training in a gym when I started training in a new gym in about 2005 when I moved to my second apartment in the Philippines. And I don't remember what year it was, but one time I showed up to this gym and I can't remember if it was just shut down initially and I couldn't train, or if I showed up and there were just new people there. But either way, I know eventually I showed up and there were people there I didn't recognize, and I'm kind of going, what's going on with this? And as it turned out, one of the former employees of the gym, I guess he had lost his job in this deal, and maybe the original owner asked him to do this. But anyway, he was finding people going to and from this gym and explaining to them that his boss had lost that lease or that rental space or whatever in some kind of legal problem. And in other words, somebody else had made a claim on that leasing space or rental space. And I did continue to train there because it was just convenient, and it's one of those things I didn't know exactly what was going on. But I do remember for, I don't know exactly how long it was. It wasn't that long, maybe a month, maybe as long as 2 or 3 months, but there's a different management there. So I paid my fees or whatever to them. I told them what I was paying. And then eventually, guess what happens? The original management comes back. I walk in there one day, and lo and behold, the guy that I'd first met at the gym, the original owner, was there. And he said, I got it back. I told everybody I was going to get this back. And he did mention that the other whoever had come in there in the meantime had taken away all of his, like his supplements and some of the stuff he was selling. I don't think they stole any equipment, but they had, done some damage to him financially beyond just the legal expenses and all that. So all that to say that one of the potential issues you can run into with a business in the Philippines is legal issues, and again, that can happen anywhere. But I'm just telling you these stories just to let you know that I found both of these events kind of strange, and you just need to know exactly what you're doing, even from the legal standpoint, and be sure that everything that you're doing is cleared legally, and there's not somebody else that's going to make some kind of claim against the land you're on or the space you're renting. That kind of thing can easily, as far as my perspective, that kind of thing could easily mess you up. So anyway, just thought I would share those two stories with you today. Hope you have a great day.